今日我哋請嚟咗咧香港大學化學系副教授 Dr. Toy 嘅，咁佢就喺過去嘅星期日嘅龍和道嘅事件裏邊被捕嘅。咁我哋而家就訪問當時被捕嘅經過。以下嘅訪問將會用英文去進行。Dr. Toy, so first question is, was last Sunday your first time to come to Admiralty to protest since the start of Umbrella Revolution?
No. I work in Hong Kong U. I live in Kowloon. I pass by Admiralty every day, going to work, coming home. So I stop by sometimes. Even though I cannot read Chinese, I think a lot of the artwork, a lot of the posters, a lot of the things are very funny, very interesting. So I like to, stop by a few times a week just to see the environment and, because I believe in the cause. So even though I cannot speak Chinese very well and I cannot read at all, basically, I can still understand and what's going on, and I support the cause. So I have stopped by many times.
Okay. So can you tell us why were you at the front line at that time in the Long Avenue when you were arrested?
Well, my colleague, I was talking to my colleague Sunday night around 9:30, and he told me he was on his way to Admiralty to find his son and take him home because he thought the situation was getting too dangerous on Sunday night. It was getting too chaotic. And I told him I will come and help him. And then he sent me a message that he's on Long Hua Road. So after I came out of the MTR station, I walked through the Tamar Park. I couldn't go either left or right to choose to help try to find my colleague, my friend. And I chose right. And there's so many people pushing. So I went to the front to see if I could see them, find them. And then there's so many people there, I ended up on the front, because people are pushing forward. And actually I left the wall. I went down to the road because I thought standing on the edge is too dangerous, I will fall over. Because I was standing there looking around, trying to find, and I tried to call on my phone, but no service. I tried to WhatsApp, no internet. And I just looked around, but then people are pushing, and I thought it was too dangerous to stand on the wall because I could fall down. So I went down, but then I realized that's a mistake too, because I'm kind of trapped. So I thought it's better to go to the front because at least I can see more, because I'm not so tall. Many people are taller than me, and I cannot see what's going on. So I went to where I could see, and that happens to be the front. And then people keep pushing me forward, and I kind of got stuck.
I see. So can you tell us a little bit more during the arrest? So did the police come and you suddenly, did they give you any warning before they arrest you?
I have no awareness of any warning. Actually, my actual arrest, I have very little memory. All I remember is I was standing there talking to someone else from Hong Kong U. And then suddenly, I'm on the ground in a lot of pain and people are shouting at me. So I just shout out, "Speak English, please. Speak English." And then they told me I'm under arrest. Don't move.
I see. So what about your head injury? So we saw that you have a bandage on your head when you were released. So did that happen during the arrest?
It must have happened during the arrest because I didn't have the injury before. And I think there are many pictures and video on the internet. They show I was on the ground, and I think one police officer was holding my head down. I lost my eyeglasses. They got broken, and so it must have happened at that time.
So other than your head trauma, so were there any other injuries, for example, bruises?
Yeah, I have some bruise on my shoulder, on my knees, and some scratches on my arm. Where I have short sleeve shirt, so the skin is a little
bit
scratched.
teared off.
Yeah, a little torn.
So you mentioned that you couldn't speak Cantonese during the arrest. So did the police deal with you in English after your arrest?
After that, they did.
They
Yes.
did. So during that time, you didn't know what's happening. So you just feel like that you were being put down on the ground, and then suddenly your hand are tied by the cuff.
Once I said English, I don't speak Chinese. Once I said English, they started speaking in English. So that is true.
So You were seen to have difficulty breathing and coughing and then vomiting after the arrest. So can you tell us what do you think that happened to make you feel so sick that you couldn't even breathe at that time?
I think that where they took me to after they arrested me, they pulled me back close to the police van. I think that road was covered by pepper spray because my arms started to burn, like a burning sensation. And then I had trouble breathing because I think I inhaled some leftover pepper spray residue. And that caused me to cough and vomit, and I couldn't breathe.
So after your release from the Loughborough police station, so you mentioned that you were denied of your bail twice. So did the police explain why did they refuse the bail?
They didn't refuse to explain. They just acknowledged my request. And
so they just said that, oh, I received it, and then we will take care of it later.
yes,
Okay, just put you on hold. And
yeah, put me on hold.
So it was mentioned that you need a regular medical medicine for your medical condition. So it was said that the police denied to let your wife give you medicine. So how did it happen?
No, they let my wife give it to me, but they refused to allow me to take it.
Okay.
So I had to go to the hospital. The hospital nurse called the University Health Service, found out my prescription, and then the hospital gave it to me through the police. And then the police only allowed me to take the medication that they received from the hospital.
So how long had you have to wait for the medication?
After I request, not long. But the hospital was so busy, it took several hours to wait. So in that sense, I think the police were very professional, and they handled my request with respect and courtesy.
So it's just a final question. So do you have any things that you want to say to the students or to the protesters who right now came to the MOT to express their concerns about the society and the government? So do you have anything that you want to say to them?
I will say, be safe, be very aware of your surroundings, be very aware of where you are in relationship to where the police are, because they can come charging at you for any reason, at any time. Even if you think you are just standing there peacefully and not posing a threat, as I thought, what the police think can be very different. So always assume that if you see a police officer, that they are a threat to you, that you could be arrested at any time. So I will not personally join these protests anymore. After my experience, I feel personally I have a stronger responsibility to my family to protect my personal safety and my personal freedom. I'm hesitant. I cannot say definitively I will not go back, but I will say I'm very, very hesitant to go back. But every student, every protester has to make this decision for themselves. And if they feel that they must attend the protest, they must show their disapproval of the government through peaceful protest by physically being there and sitting on the street in a peaceful way, that's fine. But they should also be very concerned for their personal safety and their personal freedom, because now that this movement has escalated and the violence seems to be getting worse in the last week, that anything can happen at any time. So please be careful. Please take care of yourself.
Okay. Thank you very much for the interview.